Since we're getting back into Destiny 2 news, I figure I would talk about the Dev Insights article talking about the changes coming to certain exotics and abilities in Season 22. So first up, going over exotics on the Hunters, first up we have Knucklehead Radar. Essentially, it's going to keep its base functionality, but it's going to add in the entire functionality of the Foe Tracer into it, and Foe Tracer is getting a completely new change. I'm going to read this one out because it's completely different, but when you deal damage with your abilities, you gain bonus damage with weapons that have damage types matching your subclass damage type. Additionally, when you defeat an enemy you've damaged with one of your abilities, either another ability or a weapon with a damage type matching your subclass type. So pretty much those two things have to match. So if you're arc subclass, arc weapons, got to keep that in mind. But you will spawn one of the collectible objects associated with the subclass, such as ionic traces or fire sprites. So this could be something good for like a general all-around exotic to use in all the classes, just for, you know, bonus damage with weapons and abilities. The Lucky Raspberry exotic, what it does pretty much is that if you use the arc bolt grenade, it gets improved chaining capabilities. You get grenade energy back. If you get 4 kills, you get the full grenade back. But now, instead of basing the grenade energy gains off the change, each time you damage an enemy with lightning strikes from the jolted condition, as well as each time you pick up an ionic trace, you gain additional grenade energy. And also, the grenade has the intrinsic ability to stun overload champions now. Now, lastly for the Hunters, Renewal Grasp. They've undone a previous nerf to the Dustfield grenade. Not a big deal. Now, moving on to Titans. So, there's 4 exotics here. We have Icefall Mantle, Doomfake Pauldrons, Path of Burning Steps, and the Eternal Warrior. If you didn't know, the change with the Eternal Warrior is that if you got like arc kills, you could get up to a tier 4 damage bonus for your weapons. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to use Surge mods, but it pretty much became an equivalent or even better for your weapons. But again, you'd have to waste the exotic slot for that. So pretty much they added the same benefit to these other exotics. Path of Burning Steps already kind of had it, so it didn't really get a huge change. But with Icefall Mantle, you get the escalating bonus to stasis weapon damage if you get rapid stasis weapon kills. When you activate your class ability, you immediately gain the highest tier bonus, but also you do stay still. Doomfang Pauldron, same thing, is with void weapons. When you get a void melee kill, you immediately gain the highest tier bonus because, again, it is based off the shield throw, right? Path of Burning Steps, getting a solar grenade kill now has the highest tier solar weapon damage bonus. Again, it already has the solar weapon damage bonus tiers already added onto it, so that's not a big deal. Then Eternal Warrior, since the exotic only grants its highest tier damage bonus automatically when your super ends, which is a rare occurrence, as they say, the duration of the arc weapon damage bonus when your Fist of Havoc super ends has been extended to 30 seconds. With the ACD0 feedback fence, it got kind of a mechanical rework to where it now ties to armor charges. So with the new perk, when melee hits give you an armor charge, you take reduced melee damage while you have that armor charge. Taking melee damage causes you to emit a burst of damaging arc energy that jolts targets, consuming your armor charge and dealing more damage based on the number of stacks consumed. Note that the damage dealt by the burst of arc energy should be comparable to its current damage for the 0 to 3 stacks of armor charge. So it's kind of the same, but now it runs off of armor charges. And the last exotic for the Titans, Hellfire Heart, they're comparing it to Heart of Inmost Light, and so they kind of made a change to where they removed the base energy to solar abilities and replaced it with a perk that allows you to have more sunspots, but the ability regen from having your super full is still there, so you don't have to worry about that. Moving on to Warlock. So for the Astrocyte Burst, this is the Blink helmet. They added 2 more pieces of functionality. Enemies near you when you blink become volatile, and additionally, when you're using your Nova Warp Super, the Dark Blink ability does not consume super energy. I like that. With the Geomag Stabilizers, obviously the legacy perk where sprinting near the end of the super gave you your super and people could cheese it a little bit, whatever. They basically added on, if you pick up Ionic Traces, it gives you additional super energy, so that's okay, I guess. With the Wings of Sacred Dawn, again, the floaty PvE exotic, the main complaint, I guess, is that when you reloaded, the floating would end. So now if you're using solar weapons and you continue to get kills, it'll reload your weapon from reserves. Still think this exotic is not going to be that good. And lastly, with the Winter's Guile exotic, it's pretty much useful on every subclass except for Stasis. So the thing they added now is that when you're using the Penumbral Blast melee, it'll automatically shatter after a short delay. Not sure if that really makes it super viable for Stasis, but they made a change. Now let's talk about the abilities preview. Now honestly, there's a lot to read in here, so if you want to read it for yourself completely, go for it. I'm just going to be hitting the cliff notes. Starting off with the Titan Barricade, the class ability. Titan Barricade, the base cooldown is increased from 48 seconds to 70. Wild. And all barricades have now reduced health from 600 to 500, and damage resistance versus PvE combatants increased to compensate with that. The Thunder Crash Super has an increased base cooldown now from 500 seconds to 556, which now matches the majority of other roaming supers. Honestly, I don't think this is a good change. I mean, it's a one-hit super. It's meant to shut down other things. Roaming supers are meant to be able to take out a bunch of people, but you also, there's a trade-off having to wait for that super, so I don't know why they did this one. The knockout aspect reduced damage bonus versus players from 50 to 30. Honestly, I'm tired of getting one shot by Titans. We'll see how good this change is. It's almost like they nerfed it in half, honestly, so I'm not sure how well that this is going to go, but a lot of people are going to be happy, honestly. Next, let's talk about Strand. Suspend. Reduce the suspend duration for non-champion PvE combatants from 8 seconds to 5 seconds, and with threat of continuity, now it extends this duration to 7 seconds, down from 12. So, pretty much, not even with threat of continuity, makes it to where the pre-nerf suspend used to be. So, you will not be able to hold those combatants in air very long. Reduce base suspend duration versus champion combatants from 8 seconds to 3 seconds, 4 seconds with threat of continuity. So, we're definitely going to need more suspend builds. I'll make something for next season so you can get a lot of that stuff back, but this is crazy. Increase snap damage dealt to suspended boss combatants by 6. I guess that's okay. With Threat of Mine, it reduced the class energy gain based on the tier of the defeated target. Minor combatants reduced from 15 to 10%, majors 25 to 15, bosses, champions, and mini bosses 50 to 25. So that got nerfed pretty good. Next is Threat of Generation. Again, this is the one that allows people to get their grenade back very quickly on the Strand subclass. Reduce the overall energy gain per damage event against PvE combatants by about 20%. That's kind of big, but we'll have to see how it goes. Rebalance the energy gain multiplier across the primary weapon archetypes. Overall, we reduced the efficiency of fully automatic primary weapons and increased the efficiency of precision primary weapons to compensate. I guess if there was a problem with that before, that would make sense, but now, yeah, whatever. Next up for Threadlings. Increased Threadling damage versus PvE combatants by 30%. That's actually insane, considering Threadlings, right? Like, in general, Threadlings are, like, pretty good. I honestly don't really use Threadlings in GMs a lot. Like, obviously, Suspend is, like, king right now. But, like, that might be pretty good. With Tangles, it reduced the Tangle creation cooldown from 15 seconds to 12 seconds. That's okay. And then the Sever debuff. PvE combatants affected by Sever now have their outgoing damage reduced by 40% versus 30%. So, I guess that's an okay change. For the Silk Strike Hunter Strand Super, increase the damage resistance from 40% to 45%, reduce suppression time between the Silk Strike Super air attacks, and reduce the vertical lift provided by Silk Strike Heavy air attack to reduce instances of missing the primary target. Good, because I swear you could just, like, helicopter forever. For the Threaded Spectre Hunter aspect, it increased the lifetime from 10 to 12 seconds and increased health versus PvE combatants. The Threaded Spectre now takes longer to detect nearby PvE combatants at the beginning of its lifetime. PvE combatants now more consistently focus on Threaded Spectre instead of the Hunter, and allied players no longer have reticle magnetism toward the Threaded Spectre. Yeah, if that's a problem, they definitely should have fixed that. For the Warlock Wanderer aspect, destroying a Tangle now creates a delayed suspending detonation. I like it. Increase suspend detonation radius from 6 to 7 meters against PvE combatants, and increase thrown Wanderer Tangle detonation damage to match the standard Tangle detonations. For the grapple, seeing people had an issue when using the grapple melee, would use your powered melee, but now it should, no matter what, whether it's an enemy or not, you should be able to use the grapple melee right after you use the grapple. Lastly, it looks like we're getting some new Strand fragments and just a couple of changes. So, Threat of Propagation is going to give us plus 10 to strength. Continuity no longer gives us plus 10 to strength. Threat of Wisdom no longer requires a precision kill to activate. Threat of Isolation reduced the number of precision hits required to activate by an average of about 30%. Threat of Rebirth, the number of created Threadlings now increased based on the tier of the defeated target. Minors are 1, elites are 2, bosses, champions, and mini bosses are 3. Overall, I'm 50-50 about the article, honestly, because yes, I like that some exotics got some changes. There's really only like 1 or 2 that I'm like actually excited to test out. Yes, some abilities needed some retuning, some fixing. People talking about we need to make content harder, and then they go and nerf Suspend in this article. But then there's no talk of, you know, a lot of the stuff with Titan, like, yes, the knockout stuff, but like nothing with Antace, where basically no nerfs to exotics and no I guess no major nerfs to anything else that's overpowered in the game right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. W article, L article, 50-50 about it. Let me know. If you like what you saw, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then turn that bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on another Destiny video here on the channel. If you didn't know, I actually stream on Twitch, YouTube, and Kick. I'm trying to figure out my schedule with all that stuff as well, especially with the new season coming up. But if you do want to stay updated when I am going live and just like other news about my other content, etc., you can always follow me on Twitter as well. I'm always tweeting out stuff. And again, if you want to join my community, you can always join my Discord. That link is in the description. Obviously, we are playing Destiny 2. People are looking to do Destiny 2 activities together. I'm trying to get more people in there that end up, you know, just wanting to play, wanting to Sherpa, do some other things. I have a couple things set up with the Discord as well. And lastly, if you want to support the channel even more, you can always look into becoming a member. If you don't know what a membership is essentially like a Twitch subscription. Again, it's going to give you access to the exclusive emotes, the monthly badges, and other cool stuff here on the channel. So if you would like more information, all you have to do is press the join button next subscribe, and that will give you a rundown with all the details you need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, been your boy. We'll catch you in the next one.
Terrace, it's over. Hash Ladoon is dead.
This is a relief to hear. But Hash Ladoon's presence is no coincidence. The Hive must have grander ambitions for the Pyramid's influence.